The Disir were a group of female deities who were associated with fate. Sometimes they acted with benevolence, other times without. And they were seen to be spirits who were individually connected to families or clans, which is certainly reminiscent of some of the functions of the Greek daimons as well as the manes and lares of the Etruscans and Romans, which we looked at earlier. The Cleisby and Vigfusson described the Disir as, quote, generally a goddess or priestess, a female guardian angel, who follows every man from his birth and only leaves him in the hour of death, end quote. One of the main mythological sources which mentions the Disir is a text known as the Grimnismal. Quote, slaughtered carrion will ye have now. I know that your life has run its course. Angry are the Disir. Now you may see Odin. Approach me if you can. End quote. Valkyriur or Valkyries, the choosers of the slain, who were a host of female divinities associated with guiding warriors killed in battle to Valhalla or Valhalla, are also sometimes referred to as Disir. The Cleisby and Vigfusson describe the Valkyries as a troop of northern goddesses, and then gives us examples of passages where they are described as guardian angels and tutors of the heroes, like Athena in the Odyssey. The first lay of Helgi Hundinside refers to the Valkyrie Sigrun, whose name means victory rune, as a dis from the south, and describes a band of 9 Valkyries as a wolf congress. Quote, then gleamed a ray from Logafjol, and from that ray lightnings issued. Then appeared in the field of air a helmed band of Valkyriur. Their corselets were with blood besprinkled, and from their spears shone beams of light. Forthwith enquired the chieftain bold from the wolf congress of the southern Disir whether they would with the warriors that night go home. End quote. In some of the Eddic and Skaldic poems, the term Disir also appears as a synonym or kenning for the Nornir or Norns, a name which some suggest may derive from a word meaning to twine in reference to the web of fate they are said to weave. We will look at the Norns in more detail shortly. In at least one source, the term Disir is also used to describe the spirits of dead women. In the poem called Atlamal, which is believed to have been written in Greenland in the 12th century, we find the following quote, which seems to relate them to an impending death. Quote, I thought dead women came hither into the hall. They wished to choose you, and would have invited you quickly into their benches. I declare of no value these Disir to you. End quote. In the Prose Edda, Snorri Sturluson uses the term Vanir Dis or Dis of the Vanir as a name for Froya. And some scholars have suggested that Dis was originally the Old Norse word for goddess. In addition to this, the Cleisby and Vigfusson also show that Jodis can mean the sisters of, and is also used to designate a maiden in a poetic context. Rituals to the Disir were also carried out at an event known as the Disablut. The exact date of the Disablut varied from region to region, sometimes taking place at the onset of winter, sometimes at the end. From the Hervavra saga, we can read that the rite was carried out by a woman of royal lineage, He was described as reddening an altar with blood, presumably after a sacrifice. Other accounts describe drinking ale and feasting as being part of the event, which suggests that it was also seen as a celebration of these female ancestors or divinities. In Uppsala, Sweden, a Disating or Assembly of the Disir was held in February, and many place names of the area seem to be related to the Disir, which could be indicative of their worship in the area. Could the sacrificed animal remains found in Sorta's cave have been offerings to the Disir? An analysis was conducted of the sacrificial remains found in the cave, and the results were as follows. Quote, McGovern's analysis of faunal remains from the bone pile adjacent to the structure suggested that these animals were killed during the late winter or early spring birthing season, rather than during the normal fall slaughter. Butchery and cut marks from axes, large knives and blunt instruments suggests that they were dispatched and dismembered in ways that differ from standard Icelandic butchery patterns, but may reflect practices similar to those used to sacrificially slaughter bulls at Hofstaðir, a Viking Age feasting hall in northern Iceland. End quote.